Okay, so I welcome you to another video. And in this presentation, I'm going to talk about graphic texts. So, what is a graphic text? So, graphic text uses key visual features to communicate information such as captions, diagrams, graphs, maps, photographs, and tables. Now, there are several kinds of graphic texts. Here are some examples. Before we go into examples, let's understand the purpose of a graphic text. Now, in today's world, very often people consume information in an audiovisual format, but in the textual format, I truly believe graphs such as tables, photographs, images play a very important role to help you understand information in a very accessible manner. So, graphic texts help you communicate information in a condensed manner. They illustrate how one piece of information is related to another. So here's one example. This is a table that has 5 rows and 2 columns. It's telling you the number of students in each grade of this school. So in grade 9, there are 10 students. In grade 10, there are 20 students. In grade 11, there are 30 students. And in grade 12, there are 40 students. So this is an easy way to present this information rather than having 5 different sentences where you say in grade 9 there are 10 students, in grade 10 there are 20 students. You're just presenting the same information in a much more accessible manner. That's very visually appealing as well. Now, here's another example of a table. It's just a newsletter and how many issues it was published in each year. Again, with one I was able to discern this based on the titles, which are colored differently, and the body of it is colored differently. So I know these are the titles, and this is the data being collected. So in 2020, there are 20 newsletters published, which is almost double the newsletters that were published 2 years ago in 2018. Now, here's an example of another graph. This is just 2 axes, the x-axis and y-axis. You can also use such a graph to represent data. For instance, y can represent one value and x can represent another value. So when there is an increase in y, is there an increase or decrease in x? For instance, when the median income of a country grows, does the health also increase? So that can be one thing you can measure on such a graph. So a photograph is a great way to represent something. So I think the most powerful thing of a photograph is that it shows you visuals that are very accessible and it takes you to the actual site where that you're trying to describe. So this is a picture of a cultural and language center, and it's very easy to understand that this is that center because of the sign up there. Drawings, sometimes the writer wants to represent something that cannot be produced in the real world, and then you can't photograph it. I, I strongly believe that drawings have a strong connection with most humans because they look at drawings and they think that another human being has drawn this and spent their time on this, which is why they need to give it some importance. So this is an example of drawing. Maps are a diagrammatic representation of an area of land or sea, showing physical features, cities, roads, etc. A bar graph is another type of visual. It's a graphical display of data using bars of different heights. This graph over here shows you the favorite type of movie for different people. Over here, 4 people like comedy films, 6 people like romantic films, very few people, I think just one person likes drama. So if you had to choose a movie for this group, you would probably choose a romance because that's the genre that most people like. A line graph is not similar to a bar graph, but has some similarities because there's an x and y axis. So on the x axis, it's the facts, and on the y axis, which is this line here, there's the facts. And on the x axis, there's the day number. So on day number 1, you got 3 facts right. On day number 4, you got 15 facts, right? Which means you've improved considerably. And here's the final sort of graph that I'm going to talk about today. And it's called a pie graph because it looks like a pie. Pies would be nice right now. But it's a special chart that uses pie slices to show relative sizes of data. So, how much water do we use in a day? This is from the American Waterworks Association research, and the data is from 1999. The most amount of water you use in the toilet. So, someone can try and understand if they want to modify their water usage, they can use this data to inform that decision. And I think that's the biggest purpose of data is to help you make better decisions in any context. So that's my presentation on an introduction to graphic texts. Thank you again for tuning in. And until next time, keep learning.